It's time for Living with Victory, a program of hope and encouragement brought to you by Friends of Compassion and listeners like you. Now, here are your hosts, Tony and Laureen Giorgio, with today's message of perseverance.
Jesus is with me when the storm clouds gather, when the winds of this world are blowing strong.
Welcome to Living with Victory. Proving life isn't about waiting for the storms to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain, giving you peace, power, and joy through perseverance and faith, above all in Jesus Christ. Hey, a quick reminder, you can contact us if you'd like through our website, which is livingwithvictory.org, or you can call us 828-926-4600. At the end of the program, our announcer, Tim Hodges, will have additional contact information. With no further delay, I want to introduce my wonderful sidekick of 45 years. Man, pretty soon, 46 years, you poor thing. My wonderful wife, Laureen, who has the word of the day and the topic. Good morning, Laureen. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing wonderfully. Good morning, everyone out there. The topic today is the discipline of spiritual perseverance. Psalm 51:10. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right, persevering, and steadfast spirit within me. This has a lot to say about perseverance and sticking to it. Tony has something to read from My Utmost for His Highest.
Now, thanks, Lord. This goes back to the 1800s, believe it or not, written by Oswald Chambers. And he says, a call to spiritual perseverance is not to hang on and do nothing, but to work deliberately, knowing with certainty that God will never be defeated. You know, sometimes we hang on because we're afraid we're going to fall off the mountain. If our hopes seem to be experiencing disappointment, it simply means that they are being purified. Every hope or dream of the human mind will be fulfilled if it is noble and of God. But one of the greatest stresses in our lives, and you know, especially today, is the stress of waiting for God. He brings fulfillment because you have kept my commandment to persevere. And that's out of Revelation, again, 3:10. We do have a couple of stories about families that we helped in the past, and the perseverance we're talking about comes through with these two families we have. And this will be part one, by the way, of perseverance. And next week we'll do part two because there's a lot to it. And we can't really do it justice in one program. So we're going to tell you a story to start out with. And we'll change the names for their privacy. But this was a family. Mom's name is Carol. We'll call her Carol. That's close enough, right? She had a 16-year-old daughter who had, I believe it was muscular dystrophy, if I'm not mistaken. She was wheelchair bound since birth.
I believe it was cerebral palsy.
All right, you want to be that way? Okay, it was cerebral palsy, but she was wheelchair bound. Been in this chair for years and years, okay, and Mom struggling to take care of her. Well, whether or not they have diseases, children do grow, and this is what was happening to her daughter. She couldn't fit into this wheelchair anymore. It was uncomfortable, it was hard, and you have to remember, she really couldn't move around, make herself comfortable, that kind of thing, and her head was strapped into the chair by a belt in the back, and you have to realize she really didn't have the comfort to begin with. And then not to be fitting into this chair was even worse.
And she wasn't able to speak.
Right. She could not speak. Thank you. That's very important. What Mom Carol did was she petitioned, she had the Medicaid, she petitioned them for a new chair. She needed this chair. This mother had to beg almost for 2 years. 2 years. Now, what she was after, was it noble? Was it of God? Of course. She continued on and on to petition. 2 years. How many of us could watch our child in that condition? And I'm not saying she'd make a phone call every once in a while or write a letter. She went down in person. She just took every step you could think of. You have to realize these families are really tired, and I don't know how to express it, but we could see it. I mean,
it's a constant taking care of every minute of the day, either the breathing, the
something,
whatever it is.
yes.
It's a constant go, and then not being able to have the supplies or the equipment you need, watching your child, first of all, having this disease and not being able to be comfortable, it wears. It wears on a mother.
Oh, Lord. Because you see a person, a child, an adult in a wheelchair, that doesn't mean that they're useless or hopeless or, like sometimes you'd hear, well, he's a vegetable or she's a vegetable. That's not true. This youngster had a bright mind. She was full of life. She was. But she couldn't communicate it. She couldn't move. That's all she could. Her motor skills weren't there. Her mind worked perfectly, but she couldn't tell you what she needed. That was the other thing where they had this device that she could communicate to anybody what her needs were, how she felt if she wasn't feeling good. Instead of her mother and father having to guess, she could have done this. Well, good Lord, they wouldn't give her this machine to communicate. It was too expensive. That was the other side of it. Here, she cannot get the wheelchair. She cannot get her daughter to speak her needs. She couldn't find a way, and it was out there. It was there, but oh no, it's no good. This is perseverance beyond the shadow of a doubt. There is nothing more that we could say to you about perseverance in this one instance, that this is a child of God. This woman had it in her heart, her love for God and her child, and she just took it. Now, here's where we're not saying sit back and wait. That's not what it's all about. God has it out there, but you have to keep moving, and this woman did. She really did, and that's what we were here for.
Up to this point, we were handling children with cancers and leukemia. We had not gone off into children that had these problems, but somehow God brought us together.
Yes, yeah.
Then we were able to get involved and help.
Yeah, because with the cancers and all, and you think of being terminal and dying and all of that, and this wasn't the case because children lived for many, many years. So, this was an ongoing process. But before I lose my train of thought, how we came upon this lady and her family was she really wanted this and I can't remember what the name of it was, but it was like a computer with a keyboard to speak. And she saw, I think, something we were doing in the news on another family, and she called and she asked for help. Now, it wasn't in our scope, in our guidelines as an organization. Okay, we get that a lot, but God knew, and the way we ran everything was through prayer. God led this woman to us. Okay, God did. He led it to us. He didn't cause her not to get it. That was the bureaucracy. There are other forces around that do that, not God. You can't blame God. So we went after it. And mind you, it's been 2 years later. She's trying to get the wheelchair. She's trying to get this voice machine. As God is my witness, okay, this thing costs $6,000, okay, $6,000. Of course, the state doesn't want to pay for it, but neither did anybody want to donate either. I had it in my mind who I could go to and what I could do. God just penetrated this thick Sicilian skull of mine and said, call so-and-so. And I called so-and-so the day she called me about it. I tell you what, in the mail the next day was $6,000. Okay? 6,000. God bless them. I mean, we're still friends today. It's 20 years. It's got to be. And they sent us a check. That youngster could now speak her needs through this machine. No problem. And you know what? Well, hey, if I could do that, I'd get her a wheelchair. And we went after the so-called bureaucracy, and we got her a wheelchair to fit. And this was after almost 3 years now, we're talking. But the perseverance of that mother. You say, well, I'm the angel. Well, no, I'm not the angel. But God was ready. He was ready to give it. Not because she took so long, but here I came along. I'm in the picture now. That's where it needed to happen. So you have to remember that it's not that you're never going to get it, but it is in God's time. And if it's a noble effort and it's of God, and you believe in the power of Jesus Christ, and you just keep going, you're not going to fall off the cliff. That's not why you're hanging on. You're hanging on because He's going to give it to you. Have no fear. No matter what. It may not be the way you want it to be, but it's going to justify and satisfy what you need. There's no doubt in my mind. And that's one small example of what happened.
I would love to keep going with this.
We will next week.
There's so much to it, but I just want to let you know that if you would like to send for a program or even share it with someone that you think would like to hear it, our programs for January, February, and March, as well as my test of faith about my breast cancer, are on CDs. You can go to our website, livingwithvictory.org, and click the offer button. They are available for a donation of $3 each or 2 for $5. You can either send us a check or use the PayPal on the website, and we will be happy to send them to you. Also, if you do want prayer and you would like to share with us, we really would appreciate that, and we would like to have the privilege of praying with you.
And we want to let you know that the Fuel for Life campaign is still going. There are people out there who can't afford gas and aren't getting the treatment for the kids because of it. We want you to be a partner in that. And this is Tony
and Laureen.
See you next week with part 2.
You've been listening to Living with Victory with your hosts Tony and Laureen Giorgio, who for 30 years have advocated for seriously ill children through Compassion Children's Foundation. Many families who have children that receive daily treatments for their illnesses are extremely challenged to even begin to get their kids the life-saving treatments they need due to current gas prices. Compassion Children's Foundation is there to lend a hand. That is our mission, and you can become a partner in helping. Support for this radio ministry comes from Friends of Compassion and listeners like you. Your tax-deductible donations can be sent to Compassion Children's Foundation, P.O. Box 1982, Maggie Valley, North Carolina, 28751. You can also donate through your PayPal account by logging on to livingwithvictory.org. Tony is available to speak to your group or church members. You can call him at 828-926-4600. Join us again next week at this time for another uplifting story of dancing in the rain. Thanks for listening.